Alright folks, Pitching Ace 88, we are back playing Criminal Case on Facebook. Let's head on to chapter number 3. Ace, it turns out our victim wasn't the perfect housewife we assumed she was. Shocker. But was her bad behavior what drove someone to put a nail gun to her head? If we're going to... Wait, who's yelling? I can't believe you pried in my personal affairs, Gabriel. Well, I understand that you're embarrassed, Rita, but there's no reason to be. I'm not embarrassed, just know that if you ever look at my laptop again, I will... Rita, Gabriel, just what is going on? Nothing's going on. Well, it's not really that big of a deal. I just happened to catch a glance at Rita's computer. And I was on a dating site. There, I said it. I intimidate men in person, so I'm trying to meet them online. Now, forget this conversation ever happened. It was really just an innocent mistake, Ace. I better go apologize. I heard Rita didn't like talking about personal stuff, but that was a little extreme. But you're right, we can't let it distract us from the case. We're in need of clues, and we're better to find them in the steakhouse that our killer visited. Let's go. Oh, the best corner? Oh, I think it was Richard. Richard was a hoot. Oh, but then you had Roxy. Oh, I'd probably say Roxy. Probably say Roxy over Richard. Ooh, there's your cell phone. Oh, this is a very well done scene. I like the scene, like it's vibrant and jumps out at me. Hotel key. Oh, Grace. She didn't have as much personality as the others, in my opinion. Nice job, Ace. The cell phone appears to have belonged to the victim. She must have forgotten it here. You can learn a lot about a person by looking at their phone, so let's have a go with that password. This appears to be a room key from a local motel. Something seems to have been written on the key. Can you recover it? We better tape that torn paper back together too. Ace, the sooner we solve this, the better. I want to make a good impression on my first shift. Oh, looks cute. Man. It's like, why? Is your husband not doing everything right? I was right. Well, I'll be darned, Ace. The message on that motel key was addressed to our victim. It says, Elaine, how about we meet here tonight? It's signed by Tyler, that teenager who works here as a waiter. What on earth, Ace? Tyler invited Elaine to a motel? I already know she was sleeping around, but he's a little bit more than a kid. Surely she wouldn't have. I agree, we need to talk to Tyler again, and fast. That's not Tyler, by the way. Boom, baby. Jones, I think, is my favorite partner. Oh, it looks like the victim had a voicemail she hadn't listened to, Ace. There's only one thing for it. Let's have a listen. Mrs. Seabrook, I have asked you time and time again, please do not call to make any more appointments at the Fairview Family Practice. I strongly suggest you find yourself a new physician because my secretary is under strict instructions not to take your calls. Fairview Family Practice? Ace, this message must have been left by the physician we met earlier. I wonder why Dr. Gibbs no longer wanted Elaine to visit his practice, though. Let's ask him. Was she sleeping with him, too? He just didn't want that to muddy up. Man. This doesn't make sense to me. This appears to be some sort of legal document, but somebody's doodled all over it. It's entitled Official Testimony, but we can't make out who filed it because someone wrote Poophead over their name. That someone must be Elaine, since she's marked as the defendant. I'm guessing she's the one who drew all those doodles, too. But who could have served Elaine with this legal document and why, Ace? I'll never be able to figure that out without these scribblings all over it, but hopefully Kathy can fix that. No, it's probably the divorce. She's pissed that he took pictures of everything that she did. That's kind of her fault. Hadley, found your invitation to Elaine. Pretty slick, huh? I spent a week's wages on that room for us. Yes, very smooth. So you were having relationships with our victims. I wish. I went to all the effort of booking that motel room, and then she turned me down, laughed in my face, in fact. I know for a fact that she was sleeping with half the neighborhood, so why did she reject me? I was humiliated. Oh, you're not, like, the greatest looking kid in the world. Regardless of how many people Elaine slept with, young man, you weren't entitled to expect anything from her. If her rejection led you to commit murder, you can expect a hefty prison sentence. Got rejected. Dr. Gibbs, we found your voicemail to our victim. Why was Mrs. Seabrook no longer welcome at your practice? I knew I should have told you about that. Well, Mrs. Seabrook was a nightmare. She was completely and utterly hypochondriac, with no concern for the welfare of my other patients. She'd come and see me on the slightest pretext, sometimes multiple times a day. Sometimes she came in for things that didn't even concern her. One time she came in to ask if her husband needed to go to the ER because he'd ordered his steak rare rather than well done. I pride myself on patient secret agent Ace, but Elaine Seabrook pushed me to my limit. Sounds like it. Oh man. Alright, let's speed this up. Oh, hey again, Ace. Be pleased to know that this time Baby Sammy managed not to throw up on your lab sample this time. But I have to say, your victim must have had the emotional maturity of an infant to doodle all over this document. Yeah, Elaine might look like butter, but what looked like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, but that clearly wasn't the case. So did you manage to figure out what that legal document related to? I did. The name of the person who filed the lawsuit, the so-called poophead, that was Rosamund Wilcox, the local principal. The lawsuit relates to an event which took place while Rosamund and Elaine were both at university. You see, Mrs. Wilcox was almost expelled for copying Elaine's coursework. What? The principal of my son's school is a cheat? Well, that's open to debate. Mrs. Wilcox has always maintained that it was your victim who copied her coursework. But a few weeks back, Miss Wilcox served Elaine with this document asking her to admit responsibility for her actions. Judging by the doodles, it didn't go down so well. Well, Ace, Miss Wilcox said she hadn't reconnected with Elaine in recent years, but clearly she was lying. Let's ask her about this document. Alright, so she didn't cheat, but knew something was up that we didn't hear about. Miss Wilcox, when we spoke earlier, you said you hadn't been in touch with Elaine in recent years, but this document proves otherwise. How you found that? Well, I just wanted Elaine to take responsibility for her actions. I thought she had grown up, that she couldn't possibly still be the same selfish, self-absorbed person she was in college. So I had my lawyer send her that document, but when I met with Elaine to get it back, she showed me what she'd done and ripped it up in front of my face. Well, that must have been infuriating indeed, but why ask Elaine to confess after all this time? Because the incident's been a black mark on my record ever since. I missed out on a job at one of the best schools in the state because of it. And so you killed her in retaliation for ruining your prospects? Is that it? Well, of course not. I was angry, but I'm not a murder secret agent Ace. I just went on by doing some gardening before having a few glasses of wine with my meal at the steakhouse that night. I don't know if I buy it. It's not like to speak ill of the dead, but our victim really does sound like she was a terrible person. Not only did she waste the time of a local physician, Dr. Gibbs, without any consideration for his other patients, she also left Principal Wilcox with a black mark on her record, which will affect her employment prospects for the rest of her career. With so many enemies, how are we going to discover who actually killed Elaine, Ace? It's worth taking another look at the scene of the murder, I agree. Let's head back to Elmwood Avenue. Where's the nail gun? That's obviously something. Oh, I see the nail gun. How did we not see the nail gun? That heart. That's a bunny rabbit. That's not a dog. Oh, it's a sticker. Particularly handy around the house, Ace, but I'll be darned if that isn't a nail gun. You found her murder weapon. And you're right, there's some fibers trapped in it. We better take a sample quickly. As for that tool box, we think we might find a lead inside, and let's dig in. Ace, I've got a feeling that our first investigation together is drawing to an end. Let's catch this killer. I like Gloria. Right, there's Ramirez back there. Hi, Ramirez. He was such an amazing character, and they've carried him throughout. He's so redeeming. He just wants to be a nice guy. And well, your instinct proved right yet again, Ace. The handkerchief you found in the toolbox is soaked with blood. I'll admit my bottom dollar this handkerchief is tied to the murder. Let's get to Rupert to find out. That's okay, Ella. Like I said, right now I'd like to get someone else on and have people join me, because we did do that, like, you know, before I was leaving, before I had went on my hiatus. But I can't get sound out of my speakers, so I can't record until I get that. Now, my speakers are relatively new, so I think that it's a problem with my motherboard. So I think I have to upgrade my computer. That's probably going to cost $400 or $500. Don't really have the money right now for that. So these fibers you collect from the murder weapon could be the clue which breaks the case wide open. Ace, let's get them to Rupert. So that being said, it might take 9 months of me recording and getting some funds up so that I can record with other people. Plus, these cases cost me like $10 a case just to speed them up, so you know that comes into it too. Ace, I'm just having a cup to ease this awful headache I got. Rupert, we're on the home stretch here. What do you got on those fibers Ace collected from the nail gun? Well, you just so happen to be in luck, Ace. These fibers pertain to a certain subject matter which is close to my heart. You see, the fibers are made of the finest box calf leather, as evidenced by the heavy grain and smooth finish. What's more, I also noted that the leather fibers were darker on one side than the other, suggesting prolonged contact with the oils from human skin. It wasn't hard to put two and two together. The only leather that would be in continuous contact with the skin is a watch strap. The fibers come from a good old-fashioned watch. So killer wears a watch, do they? Well, counting down the minutes until we have them behind bars, Ace. Yep. So, and like right now, I've spent $20. Right, you know, in 6 months, I'll probably have spent like, you know, $200-300 just in speeding stuff up for this game. I'll be the one giving you the results of that bloody handkerchief you sent us, Ace. Finally got Rupert to try out my VR headset, and put it in words, he had a bit of a funny turn. I think that's bridge for feeling unwell. Either way, Rupert's having a quick lie down. Well, I trust you're up to the job, kiddo. What did you get from the handkerchief? The blood on it is definitely your victim's, which means your killer must wipe their hands on that handkerchief after the murder. But clearly they weren't thinking straight, because by doing so they left a small sample of their own DNA on the handkerchief. It wasn't much, but it was more than enough for me to ascertain that you're looking for a killer who has green eyes. So a killer has green eyes. Well, we'll soon have the green light to slap the cuffs on them, Ace. That's right. Well, this is it, Ace. You and I are about to solve my very first case with the Grimm's Road PD. Let's arrest this killer. Alright, so I guess the question is, am I right? I know that the principal has a watch. The question is, does she have green eyes? She does not. It's her. Not too shocking. Miss Lane, you're under arrest for the murder of Elaine Seabrook. Were you really that upset by her behavior that you killed her? Oh goodness, how dare you accuse someone like me of mere murder, Secret Agent Ace? You won't find a more upstanding member of the community. Right, so upstanding that you left a tire print from your SUV on the victim's jacket that you raced away from the scene of the murder? Was that all the evidence you have? Most of Fairview's residents had driving an SUV. The pressures of suburban life necessitate a multi-purpose vehicle. Well, yes, and the pressure of off by gardening, we know. You left traces of your fertilizer on the victim's sunglasses. Being green-thumbed doesn't prove I killed Elaine. No, but your green eyes do. You left traces of your DNA on the handkerchief you used to wipe your hands clean of Elaine's blood. Fine, you got me, Secret Agent Ace. I killed Elaine, but she deserved it. Deserved it? What, all because Elaine got drunk and disrupted your little neighborhood dinner party? That's insane. Oh, of course not. That'd be ridiculous. I killed her because she threw up on my prized peonias and killed them. Well, that's even more insane. You don't understand. I spent all year tending to my floral babies so that I can participate in Fairview's best-kept garden competition. This was my year. I was going to win. I needed to win. But Elaine sabotaged me. She deserved to die. You have no idea the pressure I'm under, Secret Agent Ace. If I'm not perfect, I'm nothing. Wow, well you sure didn't lie about the pressures of suburban life, Miss Lane. You're under arrest. Cynthia Lane, you stand accused of the murder of Elaine Seabrook. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor, but you have to understand what Elaine did to me. Right. I say that you killed her because she vomited on your flower beds. Not just my flower beds, my prize peonies. The only thing that matter around here are how well maintained your garden is, how chewy your cookies are, and how often you go to Pilates. There's so much pressure to be the perfect housewife. I think I've heard enough. For the murder of Elaine Seabrook, this court sentences you to 20 years in prison, given your evident emotional distress, access to psychological counseling. Will there be a garden? Will there be peonies? Hey Gloria, I'd like to congratulate you on solving your first case with the Grimsboro PD. I think you're going to fit in just fine around here. Thanks, Chief. Couldn't have done it without Ace. I know the type of crime would be different than Chicago, but I'm still struggling to believe a person can kill someone over some flowers. My ex-husband always wanted me to give up my career and become a housewife, but stuff like this makes me glad I didn't. Anyway, I reckon we make a pretty kick-butt team, don't we, Ace? Now, I gotta say we go for a meal to celebrate. Yeah, the motive was a little silly, I'm not gonna lie. But, hey, you know, I ain't gonna complain. It's possible. I'll see you guys in the additional investigation of the Pitching Ace 88. Over and out.